our next video is, should you buy ships in-game? Star Citizen 4K. And in the thumbnail, I think you can, I'll show you the thumbnail here. Money versus Alpha UEC. So comparing buying ships for real money or buying them for Alpha UEC. Guys, type a 1 in chat if you've spent more than $100 on a Star Citizen ship.
There are plenty of stories and comments out there about some of the more expensive Star Citizen purchase options, which quite rightly point out that a big part of the game funding is delivered by constant ship sales for cold hard cash. But many of us often try to point out that it's not the only way to unlock content for Star Citizen.
Correct.
Indeed, most of the ships reviewed on this YouTube channel have been paid for with humble Alpha UEC and not real dollars.
Way to go, Farrister.
So, to what extent is buying ships in-game a viable option? I'm Farrister, and in this video we'll explore the reasons why you might or might not choose to spend time in-game to unlock ships versus paying cash. And it's probably best to start off by saying that most of the ships you can buy with cash are expected to eventually also be available to buy for in-game currency. There may be some...
Bro, when are they going to make a ship that's only available in-game? Like, just one time, dude. Is that so much to ask for? Just once. Like, literally make it a paper airplane. I don't care. But just prove that you actually care about the players playing your game one time. Maybe it's not time for that just yet, but I really hope that's a thing. And I just, like, there's no conversation about it. There's nothing, like, there's just no, it just never seems like it's going to exist. It's crazy.
Some artificial limitations on that, such as limited availability, in the same way that some of the cash sales are...
I'm sorry, Hull A it's got to be one of my favorite new ships. Hull A, let me move myself to the proper spot. Last video we watched, I needed to move. Hull A is one of my favorites, dude. I absolutely love this thing. And this makes me want the Hull C 10 times more. I think in the Hull C we can walk through the spline to the back, right?
Artificially limited, but the developer statements all seem to reassure the player base that you don't need to spend big on the store page. Those that do may have different reasons, and are certainly supporting the Star Citizen project by doing so. Whilst for many that might not be the sole motivation, it is a core part of the current financial model of the game.
I wonder if Farrister's going to touch on this, but just in case he doesn't, I have been very vocal about my feelings around the Cutter, the C8R, the Corsair, and the Vulture, and this absolute joke that they've done over the last three to 4 months of, we sold these ships exclusively for real money, and it's been an excessive period of time between adding them in-game for in-game credits. It's been ridiculous. And now we have a situation where they're finally adding, probably, 5 months, 6 months now, the Corsair, the Cutter, and the C8R. But what they're not doing is adding the Vulture, which is locking a 15 million credit ship, yep, or more, right? Which is a broken ship. You can't even use it properly. They've been trying to fix it over and over again. Or a paywall. And it's kind of hard to even find the Vulture on the website to buy, if I'm correct. Right? So it's this crazy scenario that just makes no sense. So, like, a video like this just ends up being so frustrating because you're sitting here going, I can't even make the distinction of whether or not I should buy this ship for real money or store credit or, or in-game credit, because I'm not able to buy it for in-game credit in the first place for one of the most important features they've added in the last, 5 years? So it's been like mining and salvage are the only real kind of, I guess, professions that have been added. So it's just like super frustrating for those kind of things. Now, to actually get to my point in the longest way possible, sorry about that, is when I did complain about these things, do you know what the argument from some Star Citizen backers were? And I'm going to go full screen from this because it was so ridiculous. I want you to see the expression on my face. Their argument was, I paid real money for it, so I deserve the exclusivity to be the only one flying it during that period of time. No, you don't. No, you don't. You never did. The reason that it was like that, the reason you pay real money, in my opinion, now it's just my opinion, but I believe that this opinion is also a fact, is the advantage you gain from having a ship purchased with real money is twofold. During the alpha, you keep the ships through a wipe, and they have come fairly regularly, more lately than ever. But the main reason is that you have it when the game goes live. You get a jump start for when the game goes live. That's what it's there for. That's it. Not for you to laugh at the plebs because you paid real money for it and get to play with it now. It's not about the exclusivity. It never was. And that mentality is such a Star Citizen backer mentality that just disgusts me. It's so bad. But all right, let's get to the video.
It's also worth adding that the same amount of money holds different value to different people depending on their circumstances. To some people, $100 is a lot of money to spend on a video game, but to others it's just loose change. Everybody has their own financial situation and priorities, and that's just part of the variety of life for many. But time is also of different value to people. To me, personally, playing the game is an enjoyable way of passing the time, and more hours in-game in the different gameplay loops to earn Alpha UEC means more value out of the money spent on the game.
I know where he's going with this.
Others will feel differently, and
I'm going to go on a big rant after this point.
If they can get all of the ships they want without having to grind by offering up their wallet instead, that's a valid choice for those people. This is especially fair when current progress is regularly wiped, so anything currently earned in-game will likely need to be earned again in future, whereas cash purchase ships are currently persisting through wipes.
Sure.
As Star Citizen requires a game package to play, clearly most people will need to spend at least some money to have access to the game.
Of course.
But one of the aspirations behind the project seems to be to avoid a pay-to-win scenario.
Who at Star Citizen is trying to avoid a pay-to-win scenario? Name one situation where they're trying to avoid it. I don't see that anywhere.
There seems to be an ambition to eventually balance ships so that player skill is a key factor, as well as...
Yeah, because the player skill of having 600 SCU versus 60 SCU is just so balanced, right? Right at the start of a ship, at the start of the launch of a game, being able to run large amounts of cargo. Hopefully they do stuff like that, but I want to come back to the... I don't have enough time to play a video game versus I don't have enough money or whatever, right? The time versus money argument. Nowhere during that conversation are we having what is the game designed to be like? And the fact that players who play Star Citizen don't necessarily accept the fact that sometimes you don't get to have everything because you didn't play the game and you didn't have the time to play it, right? Like, I don't have time to kill 50 players to get a Vandal mask. Are you kidding me? I don't have time to do that. So I'll just conga line and kill them all, right? Again, that situation is a gameplay design issue. But the fact that people aren't recognizing the fact that they're completely cheesing something and saying that they deserve it or whatever, which was kind of the mentality that was happening for that specific event, or I don't have the time to play and earn a spaceship in game, therefore I'll just skip all that and buy it. But what we're not addressing is the value that the game, how it degrades the gameplay, how it degrades the game for everybody outside of the people who don't have the time to play it in the first place. So for the people who are enjoying the game that you put hundreds of thousands and at this point Star Citizen millions of hours into, as far as work goes, probably, you are degrading the gameplay experience by allowing players to just skip the game and achieve goals that other players work hard for. I don't think Star Citizen strikes a good balance with that when it comes to ships. I think, now hear me out, because I'm saying that there needs to be a balance. I'm saying that it can be there, but Star Citizen does not balance it in a way where it's a good situation, I think. If I was a player and I saw, and I knew kind of what was going on, and I wasn't completely ignorant to the fact what a brand new player might be, but if I had my little dinky starter ship and here comes by an 890 jump, I should be so excited by the fact that that guy went and earned so much and did, like, to have that thing. Oh my God, I wonder what he did to get it. Well, how do I get that? Nah, man. He swiped his credit card. That's how he got it. Like, what are the most exciting things in the game, man? It's the ships. The dude swiped his credit card and he got it. That's it. That's all that happened. Don credit. Boop, 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 boop. There's my ship. So that's the part where I don't think there's a good balance between the argument of I don't have a lot of time, I do want to spend a little money, is good. It's okay. But the balance Star Citizen has is non-existent. It is so weighted in the direction to fund the project that is being ruined by its own funding. Of course it's pay to win. In my opinion, it's pay to win.
With some of the larger,
many people will argue it's not,
requiring multiple players to operate effectively.
Yeah, I need multiple players to run this ship. I just watched 3 videos of piracy of people running these nonstop by themselves. Now, of course, they got pirated, but how many times are you getting pirated versus how many times are you having a successful run?
That's not to say
that balance needs to change.
There isn't more work to be done in the balancing space,
Agreed.
But there does seem to at least be some interest in having a fair playing field and avoid paying to win. And then there's the question of insurance. Most hard cash purchases come with a certain amount of insurance time attached to the ship. None of that means anything at this stage of development. Any ship can be reclaimed via a terminal, with larger ships having a longer delivery timer. But in the future, this may serve to add value to cash purchase ships, or equally, perhaps devalue them. It will be very interesting to see how this eventually works itself out, as there are potentially some very expensive Star Citizen ships out there with some sort of timer attached. It's one of the reasons I think that the insurance system may need to be revisited, but time will tell.
And they talked about it recently at the German Con 42, that the devs there were saying that insurance is too powerful now. We need to address it.
So, long story short, there's nothing wrong with people making informed decisions about what they want to do with their money, and if that means buying spaceships, well, thanks to them for supporting the game.
Nah, you don't hate the player in this scenario. I don't hate the guy who's flying the C2 that paid real money for it. It's not his fault. You hate the game. You hate the setup that they've put here with no regard for the video game's experience. That's it. And the worst part about it is all this money's going to Squadron 42 and none of it's going to Star Citizen at the moment. That's the whole other thing. It's like, what the heck, dude?
For many, or perhaps even most, buying with in-game currency is likely to be the way to go, to keep the total spent on Star Citizen as close as possible to that of a regular AAA price tag. But as ever, There are pros and cons to both options.
Sure.
So, should you buy ships with in-game currency? Probably, if that's right for your circumstances. You should never feel like you have to spend more cash on the game, but if you choose to, with your eyes open, there's nothing.
You should never feel like you have to. But FOMO tactics. And I am very much an advocate of not being one of the content creators that is like, the marketing is so bad. Look, they're saying it's the ship is more powerful than that ship. I don't like that stuff necessarily, but I also think it doesn't affect me, so why do I worry about what other people think or how it affects other people? I don't need to jump in front of the bullets and defend them. They'll spend their money how they want, and if they get duped, they get duped, basically. But I don't think CIG is considering that in any way, shape, or form. They absolutely want you to feel like you need to buy this Starfarer. They want you to feel like you need to buy a Carrack. They want you to feel that way because it helps fund the project. And they love new players. And they love new players buying starter ships, because what do you do after you buy a starter ship? You fucking upgrade it. Right? That's why I asked the question at the beginning. How many of you that spent more than $100 on Star Citizen started with a starter ship? Type 1 in chat if you did. I know I did. Aurora LN here, right? And that's the thing, is you feel like, hey, this thing isn't good enough. I want to experience better now. So I move up to something bigger and better.
Nothing wrong with that too.
You know?
But those are just my thoughts on the matter. I'll be interested to read your thoughts in the video comments. If you're not yet subscribed to the channel, given that you've got this far, you might like to, so that you get more videos like this recommended to you in the future. And the like button is really helpful in letting me know what videos I should focus on making in future, so I'll always appreciate a click there if you'd like to see more like this. Otherwise, and as ever, thank you for watching.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Farrister. Again, the vibes are so good on this channel. It's just calm, and I get emotional over them. He's just so calm and shares the info, and that's it. But yeah, there you go. There's the video for that. Very cool, very cool. It just, for me at the end, I wish you never felt like you had to buy a real spaceship or real money spaceship. And I wish there was ships that you can earn in-game exclusively. I wish there was exclusive in-game stuff, more of that than there is currently. But I accept that it may not be here right now because of the alpha state of the game. They should still focus on making the game as much as possible. And unfortunately, the way that they fund the game is through the ship sales, right? So they do still need to continue this and continue the project going. But I also hope that there is a shift in direction of like, hey, we should probably, think about how the game plays and how the decisions we make in terms of the way we fund the game, how it affects the game overall. Do we care about those things? At the moment, I don't think they really do. I really don't think they do. I don't think it would take a whole hell of a lot for them to be like, this is an in-game exclusive ship. It's a big buy-in, 50 million credits, something crazy like that. Here you go, guys. Right? What if you sold it for in-game credits first and then sold it for real money or something and had a different skin on it? I don't know. Right? But it is what it is for right now. But I will not get off the... I will die on this hill. It is not a good scenario that we're in right now. Right?